What's going on, world? I am Kent, aka Kent King.
And I am Bria, aka Bree Woo, and this is the Business of Love podcast.
And we are two entrepreneurs navigating the spaces between both big business and blissful relationships.
And together we're a new developing couple, figuring out both life and love simultaneously.
Join us every single week for topics ranging from exes to employees and everything in between.
It's the Business of Love.
And it starts right now. Born, maybe. Raised.
Born, maybe. Okay.
Raised a question mark.
Please, I'm not trying to hear nothing from nobody that live down the street from Rutgers. Anywho, yes, let's get into it.
I feel like you coming on this podcast with a vengeance. From last week's episode and from your mother telling you that she would choose me as a comedy partner.
Uh-huh.
It felt like she told me she loved me more, but I'm not gonna go there because that's your mom. So, but I'm just telling you that that's how I felt in that situation. Like, well, maybe she don't love me more, but she likes me better.
Okay.
That was kind of what I heard.
She said she would collab with you in a stand-up
It was
comedy.
the way she said it and the fact that you really didn't believe. I really respect your mother for telling you the truth. That's number one. But number two, you didn't like you were the one that was bold enough to call her. You
because
started
we made a bet.
Yeah. And you lost.
Because she wanted to be facetious.
Okay.
Moving on.
Yes.
This is episode number
6
ish.
kind of. You know what I'm saying? 5.5 because we still don't know what we're doing with the first one. But this is episode 6 of the Business of Love podcast.
Yes.
We are here. Same great setup. Same great people. New topics.
Yes, very new.
Last week was interesting. We got into it. It was very interesting. But this week we are going to kind of start with a story. You kind of want to tell?
Yes. It's a bit of a story time. Of course, we're not using real names, but this is based on true events. Pretty much, we'll use the names Jane and Jack.
Okay.
Jack was asleep, and his phone was dead.
I think you got to go back and kind of give some backstory before you just go like Jack was asleep. Like you got to paint.
Going into the
You got to paint the picture of who Jack and Jane are.
Okay, so Jack and Jane are a newly engaged couple. They just had a baby not too long ago, maybe a few months ago. And, they just got a nice place together. And let me specify, just bought a home together.
Okay, there we go.
Bought a home
Shout
together.
out to Black home ownership.
Yep. Aside from that, everything is looking good. They're making plans for the future and really solidifying, their unit, what they have. So, and I mentioned that they're engaged. Very important. Jack was asleep and he works nights. So his fiance, being the wonderful person she is, said, hey, let me put his phone on the charger so that way he's not worrying about having a dead phone while at work. So she does that, and as soon as she pops it in the charger, bing, 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 all these notifications come up, and she glances over, and it's notifications from Snapchat, it's notifications from OnlyFans, notifications from Instagram, all these platforms. So being a fiance, being a partner, period, and you see all these notifications, if antenna goes up, you have every right to check that phone. And she did. And when she checked the phone, I see your foot tapping. You okay?
I'm good.
As she, looks at the notifications, she notices that he is subscribed to a few OnlyFans pages. He is subscribed to a few premium Snapchats, having conversations with the Snapchat owners, people that own the profile that he's engaging in, and they're discussing prices and discussing acts that can be traded for whatever cash amount. And needless to say, she woke him up, and they need to talk about it. So the real question I think you formed, but my personal question is, how is this okay? He tried to justify it by saying it was only purchases, it didn't exceed like a transaction type of thing. It wasn't physical. It was just exchanging money for content. And my personal thoughts I'll share after you share yours, but I do want to just ask, like, why is this okay? Or is it okay?
So today's topic is called content cheating.
Okay.
Content cheating, and is whether or not you can cheat by either engaging in or even paying for.
I've heard cyber cheating too. That's a term that I've heard.
I've never heard that terminology before. Cyber cheating. That to me is unique. But there's a Netflix movie about a guy who is playing a video game and it's virtual reality, and then like, you know, he ends up in a relationship. It ends up being another guy who's playing a girl and all
exactly,
of this stuff.
Yeah.
So I do kind of, I guess I kind of understand the concept of cyber cheating, because hell, you know, we might be headed there, right? For, you know, virtual reality to be such an actual thing. But I don't know if I can address the question of like, how is this okay? Right. I don't know that I can necessarily address that, but I do want to ask, you know, where is the, and I don't want to ask this as if he's innocent, but I do want to ask is, where is the fault and the harm? And the reason why I ask that is because to me, this is the next level of porn. So is it not okay for him to, is it because he's subscribed? Is it because he's financially giving there? Like, what is it that becomes the actual issue is my question.
Got it. So Jane disclosed her personal issue with it, and it's the fact that there were conversations taking place that were a bit descriptive and graphic and just unnecessary. If you're purchasing content, that's one thing. Cool. You want to subscribe to this particular person because you like what they do. Fine. But you're messaging them and asking them for specific things. And that conversation can then bleed over into a completely different scenario quickly.
But it didn't.
But it can. And if she never charged up that phone, who's to say that it wouldn't have?
Who's to say that it would? I think that if you can have the aspect of saying that it could have gone this way, then you also have to be able to look at the aspect to say that it never did. Because here's the thing. If it could have gone there, it probably would have gone there sooner than where we are now. It probably would have gone further than it had gone if it was a desire to go there.
I disagree, and I also feel like regardless of whether it could have, didn't, would have, it's inappropriate.
Okay.
What you're telling this girl and what you're requesting, it's outside of the parameters. She already posted the content she posted.
Gotcha.
That's it.
So it's the privacy of aspect of it.
Yeah, you're trying to like dip off to the side and DM her and have a little private conversation about what you want. That's not how that works. She's posting what she's posting. You're subscribed. That's it. It's no, hey, can you do this instead? Or can I have this little video just for me? We're not doing that.
Got you. Okay. I understand that. I understand that there's like I think that for women, I think that the problem is like you shouldn't be desiring anyone in that way besides me.
I disagree with that.
Okay, so help me out because I'm trying to understand it. I'm trying to understand it because to me, right, if he didn't cross any state lines, right, there's no physical violation. I understand the aspect of being like, yo, you were having private conversations with somebody, so that violates our relationship in a what kind of way? I'm trying to get like.
So this is another thing. Maybe I have to also add this for additional context. She had no clue he was subscribed to all these OnlyFans pages. Okay. She had no clue he was using premium Snapchat features. So it kind of was like a shock for her in general. It's
Understood.
Not like, oh, I didn't know you was talking to this OnlyFans girl or that. I didn't know you had it, period.
Understood.
So that's, I think, the biggest issue. If we're engaged, I do expect you to be like, oh, baby, I do have OnlyFans or whatever. I'm subscribed to whoever. You don't even have to tell me who you're subscribed to. But it's just the fact that you're giving me that, insight.
You way too nosy to not know who I'm subscribed to. You would want to know exactly what she's posting, what she looks like, where she's from. You and your nosiness would want to know. So don't even say that. But But I do have an OnlyFans, but I'm up there posting content. So y'all can follow me
Exactly.
on the OnlyFans, you know what I'm saying? However, back to the situation and the topic at hand, right? Here's my thing is like, okay, I understand that at the aspect of secrets. Secrets are not good in any relationship unless you're trying to surprise somebody with something. Because, you know, in a relationship, I'm supposed to be able to communicate to you, the individual, to make sure that, like, yo, anything that's vulnerable for me, I should be able to tell you.
Yep.
Right. And that's how we rock. And I love us for that. But I'm still trying to find where this big disconnect is as far as the violation is concerned. Like, I do understand that maybe it does not feel good to have found out in this way. And I almost feel like maybe if it wasn't such a secret, I feel like this may have been accepted a little bit more. And there may not have even been a desire to figure out whether or not there was communication, because it seems like she's happy in her relationship. They have a kid. He's providing for her. He's done the actual honorable step of saying, I want to, you know, change your last name and make you my wife. And up until this moment, they haven't, it seems like they, you know, Jack and Jane wasn't really having too many issues.
Correct.
But however, there was a line of privacy that was crossed. Now, here's the thing, whether or not that should have been private, that can be argued in a different way, right? Maybe there that privacy should have been exploited or explained or expressed to say that this is you know, one of my sexual norms, where I have a desire to receive things from people. I don't want to do nothing with them, but I do like to, you know, boost my ego, because I think that one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is a man's ego is going to be shaped by different things. And so I also feel like in having have been a man who's had his ego tarnished by a woman, or by giving too much responsibility to a woman to hold my ego, I understand the aspect of making sure that no woman has a complete control, and being able to say, I'm going to express my ego's desires from here, as long as it doesn't violate any type of agreement that I have with my significant other, right? It's the same thing as like when Steph Curry's wife said that she still has a desire to be desired. That isn't the wife speaking. That isn't even her herself. That is her ego speaking. Our ego is about how other people see us. So I want to be perceived by someone else as something, so I'm going to do certain things. If I want to be perceived as rich, I'm going to wear all the chains, and I'm going to walk out, and I'm going to put the money to my phone, and I'm going to, you know, that thing, right? So I feel like, to a degree, in a sense, this was an opportunity for him to be able to express his ego's desires. I don't think that this was a desire for him to violate their relationship or the sanctity of it. And so I almost feel like, right, if she would have never found out, where's the violation then? Like, if this is something that he manages to keep private, is the violation still the same?
And I have a question for that question. Yeah, I wanted to see if that was the conversation that's taken place between him and the content creators, so to speak. When does it then become disrespectful? She said she felt violated by what he was requesting and asking. So I guess my question would be, is there a thin line, or a fine line rather, between what's acceptable and what's not? Because that may be where the violation lies.
You asking me?
I'm asking you.
Wait, ask me that again?
So the real question is, you're subscribed to these pages,
right?
You know, you're watching it, whatever, you're paying for it. You're now messaging the content creator, and you're asking for very specific, explicit, and graphic things. That's what I think the violation is, or that's where the violation lies, is because you're now going out of your way to ask for this thing or these things.
So it's the effort that's been put in order to get what you want, to get that pornographic right display. And maybe I'm being facetious with this, or I'm just trying to play, you know, the advocate here, but like, ain't that the same thing as somebody opening up 47 pages to find the right porn version of what they want?
True.
Like if somebody's going to, like, are you more upset that a man would spend hours to search for the specific type of thing that he wants, or a man who's like, yo, I know how to get it specifically, I'm going to feed my ego and then get right back to.
Yeah, I'm more upset that you're doing it that way as opposed to searching 30, 40, 50 pages on Pornhub, because it's like that has its own platform. And at the end of the day, it stays within a video. This is now a real live person that you're communicating with. And again, it's something that I personally wouldn't be a fan of.
So what if somebody is watching, because they have this, right? I can watch things that are happening live.
Mm-hmm.
And then I am suggesting things that happen at that moment. Like, hey, I want y'all to tickle each other's feet. You know what I'm saying? Like, feet is not plural, right? Just feet.
It's a fetish.
It is 100%. We just learned about that, right? About why that is, where certain parts of your brain are connected to other parts for your sexual
and the
behavior.
Feet and genitals are right next to each other.
So then, just like people don't have any control over, kind of their fetishes, I almost just feel like he's exploring more of a personal fetish.
Okay.
And I don't think that his intention, or even that his understanding of that, was that he was in violation.
Mm-hmm.
I almost feel like he probably feels like a saint. He probably feel like, I'm a good dude because I'm not out here cheating. I'm not out here sexing none of these other women. I do what I do on these platforms to make sure that my ego is still in check, and then I'm back to being a great spouse supporter or whatever.
So how far is too far? When you take it off of the platform, have you now gone
100%? Any type of physical, anything that actually violates the agreement of their relationship. And I think that the boundaries need to be set within the relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's not for us to even determine, say, or agree to.
Mm-hmm.
However, I do think that the absence of the physical is commendable. I think that it is very commendable because it's so often that we have the narrative that all men cheat.
Yep.
It's so often that we have this narrative that all men like to violate in some way, shape, or form and don't have any type of respect for a relationship. Mm-hmm. And I almost feel like he was controlling as much of his urges as possible to not be that, hey, that typical stereotypical individual of like succumbing to his male desires of more. Of trying to have an ego check, of doing these things. I think that by him keeping it on these platforms and keeping it there, I almost think that there is a moment of, to me, in my opinion, that the commendability. I think that there's, now again, I think the violation comes when you can't express some of these desires to your significant other. You can't express the fact that you hold these things, right? Secrets are oftentimes the most detrimental thing in a relationship. I have a Finsta where there's nothing but all of that type of feed on there. Mm-hmm. And it's for me. It got nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you.
Well, again, that's commendable because you made that clear, I think, before we even really started dating. Like, well, when we were still in, like, the talking stage.
Okay.
That was something that you made very clear. So, in my opinion, it's like, okay, you have nothing to hide.
Right.
It's clear that you have this for your own personal, moments, whatever. But again, as long as it stays within that.
So that's realm. My question for you is like, where is the violation? What is the realm that is okay? Because to me, in all honesty, I just think that since we have been introduced to Western culture, we have now learned the things of jealousy and possessiveness. And I think that those traits have trickled down into our beliefs about the way in which relationships are meant to be set up, where we believe that one person is supposed to have all their affection or desires for this other person, When in fact, I think that human nature says that you're always going to have other desires. You're always going to want to be desired. Again, the benefit of being in a impactful relationship is the fact that we're choosing each other, right? Every day, like we continue to choose each other,
Right.
and I think that that's so crucial and important to understand. And then if you understand that aspect of saying, okay, a relationship is a consistent choice, being in a relationship with someone is consistently choosing to be with that person, then you also have to understand that there are going to be times when that choice will be challenged. And I don't mean like it's going to be a challenge for me to choose you. I mean that there are going to be things that are going to be other opportunities that could be chosen. It's not like there ain't somebody in your DMs once a month, once a week, however every often it is, and vice versa. But we continue to choose. So, and that's just the just like someone can come at you, you can have a desire to see something. So there are give and takes or yin and yangs that go into relationships that I feel like oftentimes men don't get enough leeway on. Men don't get enough of gratitude for their actions of not being something. I feel like women are often so quick and eager to find cause to be upset with a man, find cause to complain about a man, find cause to be a part of a society that says men ain't shit. I feel like women want to be a part of that society often, and they oftentimes heighten certain situations and scenarios
To be in that. Okay.
and to give them just cause to feel like this. And so for me, it's like, okay, if we gonna play that game of like, you know what, I'm gonna blow this out the water and make this, I'm gonna equate this to like as if you did this, then you also have to look back at that same situation and be like, but I'm so happy you didn't do that. And so if you can have that, then where's the harm? Like if you can look back and be like, well, what I would have expected or what it could have been or what it typically is or this is that and the third, I just feel like there's not enough gratitude given towards.
On a very high level like view, I agree 100%. I think as women sometimes we don't give enough gratitude or appreciation for what our men do right. But at the same time, I also feel like when you are of a certain, and I hate using this word caliber because I feel like it's so overused and people don't even know what that means. But when you're of a certain caliber and you have a plan, you know what you want to do as far as like your family, yourself, it's kind of like I'm not about to congratulate a fish for knowing how to swim. Like, you're supposed to be doing these things, and I'm saying supposed to because if you know exactly what you want for your family, you know that there's no room for stupid like like things that can really be prevented. So I'm 50-50 with that. Yes, we do need to give gratitude and be like, yo, I'm so grateful for the man you are because I know that you have, girls that try it in your DMs and stuff like that. Like, and that's what I'm saying to you yourself. But at the same time, I also know what you tell me and what you have planned and what you see for us. And I know that entertaining them would not be beneficial for us.
Understood, of course, and agree, and I commend you for that because I definitely can see that perspective in a way in which it's like, yo, look, I'm not gonna praise a fish for knowing how to swim. I totally understand that, and it's like, you make a very good point with that. I feel like we have given social media and other platforms so much control over our relationships. Yes, 100%. That I just feel like these lines are still so gray.
Yeah.
Of like what's okay and what's not okay and what's acceptable. And I think that the biggest thing needs to be, what are you cool with?
You took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say every relationship is so different.
Right.
These pages and meme accounts, they make relationships seem black and white, when in reality you have people who are open to, you maybe dealing with someone outside of the relationship once a month or something like that. Everyone's guidelines for their relationships are different. So I unfollowed a lot of pages because I'm like, I feel like it's shaming groups of people who may, identify with this way of thinking. Yeah, that's just really how I feel. Every relationship is unique.
I definitely agree with that. I also feel like boundaries in relationships are very important to be established early on.
Yes.
Because you guys need to know about each other and what is the level of actions that is considered respectful or disrespectful. Like, what is it that you will tolerate or what you won't tolerate? Because there are certain things that, like, you understand. And also, oftentimes when it comes to boundaries, it's often perspective, right? You and I just had an issue where we were discussing whether or not we were going to get rid of some furniture.
Yes.
And initially, right, when we were having the conversation, I was receiving a lot of pushback. It was like, yo, I spent my money on this. I ain't trying to let this go, whatever.
Right.
And then I made a point that was like, well, listen, to me, I really don't want the old energy in our new space. And before I could even finish that, you kind of were like, okay, yeah, no, let's start shopping right now because
I got it from that perspective. Me, literally, like when you were saying get rid of the furniture, I promise you I was thinking about all the weeks I waited for it to come, going to Mattress Firm, like go to all these places. I wasn't thinking about, it is old energy with all this furniture. So, yes, that's very true.
And you put yourself in a perspective because I remember how fast you said it and it you agreed to it so fast that your agreement bothered me. That I had to bring it back up later to be like, you agreed to that kind of fast. Why? And you was like, because if it was me.
Literally.
And it was your old stuff, I would have been told you to get. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
The power of shifting perspective, and now you understood where my boundary was when it came to that. And so I think that that's what needs to happen a lot, is to be able to have those conversations, to be able to, set boundaries and shift perspective, because that is where you guys are going to be able to find success in the relationship, whether it be a business or an actual relationship. But I want to now ask you this, right? And this is, again, being the advocate, going a little bit further. How do you feel about masturbation, about self-pleasing yourself, knowing that you have a partner?
That's fine. That's your personal time. So this is my whole thing, right? When it comes to masturbation, and I'm going to lump in strip clubs with this too, because I feel like there's a lot of times that, and I'm going to say some women prefer to have control over every moment of their man's life, right? Like if you're going to the store, I want to come. I'm going out with the homies. Oh my God, like, can we stay in and watch a movie tonight? Like whatever. So if I can see you having your own time or, doing things that make you feel good, why not? Like, I don't want you coming with me to the mall all the time. I don't want you coming to the nail salon with me all the time. These are my moments.
Okay.
So if you feel like letting some stress out, masturbating, cool. You're not cheating. If you feel like going to the strip club, throwing some money, as long as you give me some first, then cool, like, we're good. It's as long as you aren't violating and we both know what that looks like for our relationship. We're good.
I think we definitely do, but I don't know, because now I'm looking at it and I'm like, so if I'm beating my meat to something that's on OnlyFans, am I violating?
No, the violation, like I said, was within the conversation. You can subscribe to all the content you want.
But if I'm asking for specific videos for myself, now it's too much.
You're bugging out.
That's what you're considering that a relationship?
I'm considering that you're trying to form a relationship. You're
really?
trying to form a rapport with this person.
A rapport.
Yeah, because you're reaching
out. More like a rapporn.
You're reaching out and you asking for specific stuff. You're not special. You're a part of her gazillions people audience that's subscribing, making her money, or making her wealthy.
Right.
Stick to that. Know your position. Don't try to come out of pocket and ask for something specific. This ain't that.
Wow.
Yeah, you're a subscriber and that's it.
But once you start getting personalized,
yes, there's a problem.
So porn is cool, but personalized porn is not.
Not when you're interacting with the actual creator, the actress. Like, no, that's a problem. Because this is the thing, right? If we have a network, hell, OnlyFans. If I'm on OnlyFans, subscribe to Big Dingaling 97. I'm hitting him up on the side, and I don't know how OnlyFans work if you can message them on there, but I hit him on his personal Instagram like, hey, I like what you did in that last video, but for me, can you please just, do this? Would you feel
away? Yes.
And that's the thing. I'm starting to really understand when it comes to relationships, I have to think about the other person. I don't do stuff just for me. Like, when I'm making a decision, it's not just about Bria anymore. Like, I can't go to a strip club, bend over and take a picture with the stripper because it's fun and it's cool. No. I have to think about, I have a man and I would not want him doing this. It's disrespectful. It look crazy. That's what that is.
I understand that. And I would have issue with you asking for that specific content because you could ask me for that. Mm-hmm. So if I was the type to not do that for you, if there was something that I wasn't capable of fulfilling mm-hmm. and you were, getting your fulfillment elsewhere and it wasn't a violation, then I would actually accept that. If there was something for you that, like, in that sense, right? Yeah. Not like in a physical or sexual sense or whatever, but if there was something that you specifically felt was important to you and I wasn't providing that in that sense, and we had an agreement that was how you was going to get it, mm-hmm. fine, no problem.
So I have a question for you.
Okay.
Kind of based off of what you asked me, but with a slight twist. We've seen videos, I don't know if you remember, but there's like popular massage therapists or masseuse who are men. They travel, come to you, whatever, you can come to them, but their massages are more sensual, mm-hmm. intimate, and, they got the music playing, you got to be fully naked, and the positions they put you in to massage you are suggestive.
Mm-hmm. Very suggestive.
So the question is that a violation?
Are you asking me, would I allow you to get one of those?
So in our relationship, would that be considered a violation? Or
would
something?
You allow that to be done to me?
That's how it works. You think about the other person. No, exactly. I would not.
That's not something that we would, I'm not going to say allow, but that's not something that we would be proud to know that mm-hmm. our partner has experienced. Now, mm-hmm. a regular massage, yeah, get that shit. Let's both go. Let's go to couples massage, whatever mm-hmm. the case may be. I'll pay for one. Like, that's not a thing. But once you start to introduce sensual, right, the word sensual, or things that are just, abnormal, mm-hmm. Or quasi-normal, whatever that terminology might be to, like, properly describe what would be going on. Yeah, once you add the subnorm in there because of what I believe about our relationship when it comes to privacy of mm-hmm. enjoying each other's intimacy. Mm-hmm. I'm very big on intimacy. And so because of that, any type of intimacy outside of the relationship mm-hmm. would therefore then be a violation.
Glad you said that because I just drew a parallel.
Okay.
So
I knew that was coming, by the way, because when I said it, I was like, am I giving her fuel for mm-hmm. the fire? Go 100%,
ahead. 100%, but that was the parallel I wanted to draw because this is considered not okay. It's a service. That massage is a service. OnlyFans, it's a service. So when you step outside of the OnlyFans platform and you become involved in a conversation asking for specific things, yeah, that's a problem because it goes outside of the relationship and what y'all consider normal.
Okay, look. I like what you said. I don't really like how you looked at me when you said it. I'm not really appreciating the energy that I'm getting, like as if I was the one subscribed. Like, it's the cutting.
I told you was passionate about the last episode. I'm passionate about this one.
I see. I definitely understand. And I get it. I get that there's a level of intimacy there with you even asking for certain things and mm-hmm. receiving them. I totally do understand that. And I see where that violation can now come. I guess I was trying to just hold dude down by being like, yo, he wasn't cheating or whatever. But I do think that there is a different level. There are different levels of cheating, right? Emotional cheating or whatever the case may be. And so there may have been definitely a line that was crossed there. I think that the biggest thing needs to be, in order to rectify that, needs to be communication. I think that that's the best way that they can climb back from that, is just a communication of what is acceptable, what is a desire, right? And there needs to be compromise on both ends to make sure that there's a comfortability within that household and that relationship. Because especially a man, right? If you're supposed to be the king of your castle, then you don't want to have to sneak and do anything. Like, that's really my thing, is I don't want to ever have to sneak and do anything. Like, I'm not going to be supplying funds somewhere and then still have to be uncomfortable in any way, shape, or form. Like, that's just not me. And the whole purpose of being in a relationship is to find someone that you can be comfortable, you're fully as comfortable as you possibly can be with that one individual. And so anything that jeopardizes that, for me, is not okay in the relationship as far as being successful and having that desire. So I do agree, and I do digress on the idea that, that is acceptable. I'm sorry, my man Jack. I can't keep swimming in the same, you know what I'm saying, in the same pond as you, player, because it wasn't cool. It wasn't cool. The biggest thing about it, to me, the biggest violation was just the communication. Like, let your girl know what it is that you into and that, what you're doing, because, a lot of women will have that notion of like, look, as long as you're not embarrassing me in that sense or violating our union in that sense, like, I understand that you gonna want that and desire. I'm not built like that, but you are. Cool. And I just think that that's where success lies in most relationships.
100%. And then if you also explain to your partner, you don't even know what they might be into, y'all can explore certain stuff together. That's my take on it. Yeah.
I'm here for exploring stuff together. I like that take. So I do kind of want to stick to this idea of OnlyFans, right? And I have said this before. Now, would you be okay if my method of procuring funds was via OnlyFans, and it wasn't me dropping gems and giving knowledge? It was me displaying my
I don't think I would be a fan of that. And it's specific to me as a person. I'm very I'm not possessive, but whatever is mine, and I'm not sharing that. So.
That sounds pretty possessive. But you're not sharing. It's just people being able to view it. This is the same thing as me having no shirt on Instagram or whatever.
I'm virtually sharing you. And yeah, you do take pictures like that on Instagram. Who said I was a fan? So, as far as having an OnlyFans and doing explicit content, no, I would not be a fan of that.
Okay. I can understand that and respect that, but I feel the opposite. Yeah. I feel like
you've expressed that a few times too.
Yeah, I feel like I would love for you to get an OnlyFans and let me be the only fan. I want to be the only person that could subscribe. I think that there's
that's different.
Because I think that here's a thing, right, where for male ego, that's why strip clubs work. It's because we have a desire to both financially acquire what we desire. Like, to be able to say, look, here's the money for whatever it is, and I'm going to get some sort of sexual reciprocity and out of this agreement. I'm going to see a titty, a nipple, a butt cheek, something. There's a part of men that I can't explain it, but we like that. We like that. We like that. It ain't nothing, and it's hard to basically put into words, but we like that. And so because we do, I'm here for like having to. Now see, here's the thing. In our last episode, you was talking to me about, you sent me a picture of your nails and you wanted $40. If you had an OnlyFans and you
was my subscriber,
right,
you would have paid for it
100%. And that's how I think that things should be.
So basically what you're saying, if I'm hearing this correctly, is that you should be your man's OnlyFans content creator, or you should be
100%.
their stripper, you should be their whatever.
I'm not saying you should be, because not all women are in touch with their divine feminine energy to know how to do that. Not every woman wants to be able to, do those things and produce that, or whatever the case may be. I'm not saying should. I'm not saying should, but I do feel like there are large benefits into that. And I feel like when it comes to the way in which we use these internet platforms, right, we aren't utilizing them for the maximum that we could be receiving. I feel like all of these platforms end up getting a notion behind them about what they are, designed for, and then we automatically just assume that that's how things have to be. For example, right, if I don't wish you a happy birthday on Instagram, people just assume that, like, we aren't together anymore. So, and I don't think that that's what if you look at my Instagram, I'm using it for something totally different. I'm trying to spread knowledge and, a wealth of information about that. So I don't think that people are I don't think that people are any longer checking for those type of posts. And I think it's the same thing with something like OnlyFans, where it can be repurposed for something that can be, beneficial for relationships.
Of course.
So I feel that if we continue to take a different perspective and a different narrative about a lot of these things, then we can then, repurpose them for the positive in our relationship. I don't see anything wrong with that.
No, definitely. See, that's the thing. I said no to making OnlyFans for, posting
Public.
and saying, oh, link in my bio. Like, that's not what I would do.
Mm-hmm.
But I have no problem. I mean, I've expressed my personal stripper fantasies, but I would not mind making one specific to you. That's different. And plus, I'll be getting my nails done.
Nail money from no.
Exactly.
Well, listen, I think that as always with this, right, we want to try to tie this right back into business. And, when it comes to relationships, both in business and in actual, significant other relationships, I think that something that we've learned from this conversation is it's very important to set boundaries early on. Both in business. I think in business, it's even more important to set boundaries because, for me, I've had to fire people who I didn't want to fire because they violated boundaries. And I feel like a large part of that was me not setting those boundaries hard enough, soon enough, strong enough. And so with, new people that come in, new clientele that we get with our business, I make sure that I do a very good job of setting a hard line of boundaries in the beginning because it really sets the precedence for how people treat both me and my business in the long run. And I think that that's something that's very, very important in any type of relationship. And again, just to tie it all back to business, right? Not only with the boundaries, but I do think that communication of I really hate to use the term expectations, but I do think that that's where, where you have to go is that communication of expectations needs to be set forth and early on to make sure that all parties involved know both positions, roles, and responsibilities. And I think that that's how you have the most success in your relationship. And don't be afraid to repurpose some of these apps or whatever the case may be to be more curated to something that might be of your liking or more beneficial to you and your relationship growth.
Definitely in your business growth like you're doing with the OnlyFans platform.
Yeah, because I done took OnlyFans and, it's a whole different thing now for me. But yeah. That's it.
Yes, I agree. This was a great episode.
I think this was a good episode, especially coming off our last episode. We was really going at it before, and I know you really wanted to beat me up on this episode. I was doing a lot of cursing. That was the wine we was drinking, so I tried not to curse on this episode at all. I think I did a decent job of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the Business of Love podcast, episode 6-ish. 6-ish. Yeah.
Yes, and we hope that you definitely gained something from this, and please contribute your thoughts and feedback as much as possible.
And shouts to Jack and Jill. That was their names, right? Jack and Jane?
Jane and Jack.
Jane and Jack. Shouts to Jane and Jack, man, because they do have a beautiful union. Like we mentioned before, they got black home ownership, and those things are actually key and crucial to the betterment of our society as a union, as a people. So we definitely want to commend them, and we appreciate them being vulnerable and candid enough to actually share some of their expressions or their experiences with relationships, and for us to be able to help everyone grow from that. So shouts to the Jack and Janes in your lives, right? Everybody kind of got their own Jack and Jane. So shouts to all of the people who have gone through situations like this and who have grown from it. Let us know how you've grown. Drop some comments and let us know how we can grow and be better to serve y'all as well.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, it's the business of love.
All right.
And we out.
Snap, snap, snap.
Oh, okay.